I've watched many different anime and read many different mangas throughout my life. I've come across many lovable and spirited characters that have left a huge impact on me personally. But if there's one character and series in particular that taught me how to approach life, how to face my own problems, and more importantly, learn how to achieve self-acceptance, it's Great Teacher Onizuka. GTO is my favorite manga of all time. It is an uncrowned king of a series that follows the story of Eikichi Onizuka, a former gang member and virgin who sets out to be the greatest teacher ever. His first mission as a teacher is to discipline the troublesome Class 3-4 in Holy Forest Academy. They put him through a lot of bullshit, but Onizuka's tenacity won't allow him to be defeated. Born and raised in Shonan, where the exhilarating and adrenaline-charged lifestyle of the Bosozoku was at its peak, Onizuka's early days throw light on his unorthodox, charismatic, and hot-headed personality. Being brought up in a Japanese youth subculture environment that revolves around speed, thrill, and the extreme customization of motorcycles or cars, Onizuka's lifestyle was the freest. Drag racing, vandalism, gang fights, and even the constant rejection he gets from girls, the way he lived his early days taught him how to be self-reliant and independent. That upbringing is what exemplifies Onizuka because he still chooses to do batshit crazy things even as a teacher. From jumping off a building to save his student, to challenging 100 people to an arm wrestling match, the great thing about Onizuka is that he is a man true to himself. He is a nonconformist that doesn't succumb to societal expectations. He's a perfect example of a genuine, down-to-earth guy. On the surface, he might come across as an irresponsible and pervy teacher, which, to be fair, he is, but when it matters, he'll do whatever it takes to help his students. The charm of Onizuka is his authentic personality. The more you spend time with him, the more you find yourself immersed in his perspective and philosophy on life. His students lean towards him because they simply can't help themselves. No matter how hard they try to reject him, he'll keep knocking on their door and eventually earn their friendship through his perseverance and genuineness. He's more than just a teacher, he's someone who you can befriend and always count on to bring you comfort. His life lessons teach you the most important core values. The beauty of Great Teacher Onizuka is how it shines light on some of the difficult things that we face in life. Whether it be bullying, having low self-esteem, or even depression, you see how Onizuka tackles them in an extraordinary fashion through his unbelievable life lessons. If you're drowned by negative thoughts, trapped in an endless cycle of dark emotions, and only inches away from finally giving up, Onizuka is the shining light that will pierce through your hardships and lay out his hand for you to grab it. He reminds you that there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. He doesn't force that kind of behavior, that's just who he is, which gives you no other choice but to trust and want to believe in him. It's easy for someone to put on a positive persona only to show their true colors later on, but in the case of Onizuka, he doesn't do that. He sells himself to the world from the get-go. He doesn't change his attitude or pretend to be someone he's not. He's literally a prime example of what you see is what you get. Furthermore, he doesn't impose authority on others despite being a teacher. He treats his students with fairness, care, and love. Well, maybe not with care. The relationship between him and his students is unprofessional and very casual. When Kikichi, Kanzaki, Yoshikawa, Murai, and the rest of the gang hang out with him, he's just another friend. That dynamic bond results in many funny moments where he gets ridiculed in a lighthearted manner to the point where he's almost pathetic. Nevertheless, he still manages to look cool and endearing. He's just a really fun guy to be around with. Most of the teachers in this school follow strict protocols, but Onizuka does things differently. His approach in dealing with students doesn't line up with the school policy. In a private school where most students are emotionally enclosed, it's important to have someone to connect with, and Onizuka is that person. The reason why Onizuka was able to win the hearts of Class 3-4 is because he has the power to make you stay true to yourself, which is something that all of the students in his class struggled with. They all lacked empathy for one another, and they were completely lost in their own individual battles. But then came Onizuka. Through his simple-minded behavior and unconventional methods, he slowly starts to affect those around him. You simply become amazed at how he's able to just put himself out there without a single care of how others might perceive him. This is what allows his students to warm up to him, be unrestrained in expression, and just be themselves. He breaks down that barrier of distrust and in a way frees his students. He always puts them first and will always go out of his way to keep you company if you're ever feeling lonely. Through his heart-to-heart conversations, he'll always make you see the bigger picture and ultimately put you in the right frame of mind to keep moving forward regardless of what obstacles may come about. A great example of this is when he gave Kanzaki the expanding your butthole lesson. Now, wait, hold up, it's not what it sounds like, trust me. No matter how perverted Onizuka can be, he'll never stoop that low. But anyways, in that lesson, he taught Kanzaki something very valuable. Kanzaki is a child prodigy who harbors hatred for teachers after a previous heart-shattering experience that involved one of her past educators. Onizuka eventually got to her in typical Onizuka fashion. He pulled up to school with Ryuji and his motorcycle gang, all dressed up and ready to go as if he was going to war. He then takes Kanzaki on a ride and jumps off a bridge at full speed. I don't even know how the motorcycle was moving considering it was carrying Onizuka's massive titanium balls. The objective behind that stunt was to see through her tough act and teach Kanzaki that in life, it's okay to be afraid. Not experiencing fear is the same as being dead. He reinforces that lesson with very disturbing yet powerful conversations that his friends share with Kanzaki about their life. One guy woke up one morning and saw his old man hang himself to death in the next room. He was only a 6th grader at that time. Another guy had an alcoholic father who beat his wife to death. His father then forced him and his sister to bury their own mother in the backyard. Kanzaki was just standing there sweating, completely in shock at what she's hearing. Onizuka then tells Kanzaki that he heard about her secret, and that although he feels bad for her, it's so freaking insignificant. His boys are all carrying heavy burdens from their past traumatic experiences, but that's not stopping them from living their life. All you gotta do is smile. When I read that the first time, I had goosebumps. It was such a powerful lesson that really helps put into perspective just how insignificant a lot of our problems really are. This example demonstrates Onizuka's sheer level of dedication when it comes to teaching. He always puts others first and is simply driven by his desire to help and protect others. That's literally his policy. When I compare Onizuka to other characters in anime and manga, he reminds me a lot of Gintoki from Gintama. Despite both being main characters, they don't shy away from flaunting their imperfections. That not only gravitates people towards them, but also elevates them. Personalities aside, they also share very similar philosophies. Both are governed by their compassion for others, and they always believe in the mindset of moving forward and not having the past affect your present. Furthermore, they both display a lot of wisdom, which is something that you least expect from a very presumptuous former gang member and an extremely lazy-ass samurai. Their unique personalities make them hilarious, unpredictable, and unexpectedly wholesome. Onizuka and Gintoki are the kind of people that make you into a better person because they're very upfront, transparent, and open-hearted. They boost your confidence and also make you believe that anything is possible. Through their actions, they show everybody what they're all about. Sometimes it can be a pain, but at the end of the day, their body moves on its own because they're dedicated to their own principles. The thing that I love about Onizuka is that although he's just a normal guy with no superpowers, he's still unbelievably strong. Some of the stuff he does in the series really makes you question whether or not he's actually human, and not just from a physical standpoint, but there are many instances throughout the story where you see Onizuka showcase his tenacity and backbone. He German suplexed Vice Principal Uchiyamada, broke a machine he was handcuffed to, took someone off their feet with a simple flick of the finger, challenged 100 people to an arm wrestling match and won. Onizuka is built different. Furthermore, the guy's durability is off the charts. He's able to take large falls and come out relatively unharmed time and time again. Also, he's an expert motorcycle driver. If you read Shonan Junaigumi, which is the prequel to GTO, you'd know that Onizuka was already kicking ass in the motorcycle game from when he was still a young teenager. Also, he watches a lot of Initial D, so that kind of helps too. In the beginning of the series, the guy literally drove from Akita back to Tokyo in only 3 hours. When a student got kidnapped, he was able to control his bike on a small retaining wall. When he got blackmailed by Kanzaki, he outrun an entire racing team. Also, he's really good at video games. If you think all of this is crazy, just take a look at some of the stuff he did back in Shonan Junaigumi. Onizuka was built different from the day he was born. His strength all narrows down to his dedication to teaching. At one point, Onizuka's job as a teacher was on the line, and the only way for him to keep his job was to score #1 in the entire nation on the Eastern Social Common National Scholastic Aptitude Test. Can you imagine how hard that is, considering Onizuka is, I'm trying to think of what the word is, I want to be delicate here, stupid. He literally had to use a stun gun to help keep himself focused. If that's not dedication, then I don't know what is. Also, on the day of the test, one of the students got kidnapped and he literally went out of his way to save her. You get another taste of his strength when he confronts those kidnappers. After he saves his student, he returns to school and literally takes the test despite suffering severe injuries, even though he kinda heals after that no problem. One of the best things about GTO is witnessing Onizuka's greatness. What he does is completely abnormal and you just get hooked on his awesomeness. Anime and manga opens an entirely unique and vast world for us to explore. We learn a lot from different characters, we experience different emotions, there's always something to take from it. Great Teacher Onizuka is one of those series that could potentially change the way you approach life. It can inspire you to become a better person and achieve things you never thought you could. To some, it's just an enjoyable manga, but to others, it's much more than that. Among the crazy and hilarious moments that occur in the story, typically deriving from Onizuka's perverted nature and lessons that involve crazy and dangerous stunts, deep down of it all lies a message. A message that tells you to be more free, to learn how to let go of negative thoughts, and to spend each day of your life knowing that whatever happens, everything will be fine. Onizuka teaches you how to be stronger from within. He teaches you how to stand up for what you believe in. He teaches you how to find the strength to love and to become a helping hand for those in need. For each lesson that he instills in you is another step forward to becoming the best version of yourself. GTO is just a gradual progression of eye-opening lessons that encourages you to stay strong and approach life the way you're supposed to. From reading porn magazines in his room to coming out on top in spectacular fashion every time he gets challenged, Great Teacher Onizuka is a masterpiece in its own right. That is why you put the great before Teacher Onizuka.